In a moment of sheer panic and distress, a young girl dashes out of a public restroom, tears streaming down her face after a shocking discovery about her own body. Her mother, witnessing her daughter's turmoil, is filled with alarm and fear. This incident is just another chapter in the deeply intertwined lives of Rosa and her mother, Rosamira, who share a bond deeper than most mothers and daughters ever experience. Over the years, they've faced life's challenges side by side, each other's unwavering support. Rosamira's journey into motherhood was fraught with hardship. Abandoned and psychologically tormented by the father of her child, she was left to navigate pregnancy and parenthood alone. Initially, despair consumed her, leaving her to question the value of life and her ability to raise a child by herself. However, time brought perspective, and she came to view her separation from the child's abusive, alcoholic father as a hidden blessing. It dawned on her that her daughter would now grow up in a peaceful environment, free from his detrimental influence. Yet, Rosamira faced the daunting challenge of single parenthood head-on. Employed as a cashier in a supermarket, she knew her job was at risk the moment her pregnancy would interfere with her duties. With no severance pay in sight, unemployment loomed over her. But Rosamira was a woman of unwavering faith, and it was this faith that saw her through the darkest times. After losing her job, divine intervention came in the form of a compassionate group of nuns. They offered her shelter, took care of her during the final stages of her pregnancy, and ensured she had enough to eat while covering her essential bills. With their support, Rosamira and her newborn daughter, whom she lovingly named Rosa, were able to start anew. Upon returning to work, the grocery store welcomed her back, and the support from the nuns provided the financial stability she needed for her and Rosa. However, the specter of the past loomed large, with the ever-present fear that Rosa's father might re-enter their lives. This fear became reality when he unexpectedly showed up, throwing Rosamira and Rosa's peaceful existence into turmoil once again. Through all these trials, the bond between Rosamira and Rosa stood strong. Their journey is a testament to the power of resilience, faith, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her daughter. Together, they faced the uncertainties of life, proving that love and support can overcome even the most daunting challenges. Rosamira found herself grappling with a situation she could hardly fathom. Her ex-husband, who had once exited their lives with the clear intention of not taking up the mantle of fatherhood, was now vehemently fighting to secure custody of their child. This abrupt shift in his priorities left Rosamira both perplexed and unwavering in her stance. She could not comprehend how someone who had willingly abandoned them was now laying claim to their child. It raised a red flag for Rosamira, igniting suspicions of ulterior, possibly malicious motives behind his sudden paternal awakening. In his quest to win custody, her ex-husband didn't shy away from leveraging the legal system. He argued vehemently in court that Rosamira's demanding job schedule rendered her incapable of providing the necessary care and attention their child deserved. Contrarily, he presented himself as the epitome of transformation and stability. By dubious means, he had secured a certificate claiming his recovery from alcoholism. Furthermore, his recent financial success painted him as the more suitable parent, capable of offering a prosperous future for their child. These arguments, whether grounded in truth or deceit, seemed to resonate with the judge presiding over their case. After a series of court hearings that delved into the intricacies of their parenting capabilities, the judge was swayed by the narrative of a reformed man ready to assume his parental duties. The culmination of these proceedings resulted in a heart-wrenching verdict for Rosamira. The judge decreed that the child be placed in the care of her father, a decision that not only questioned Rosamira's suitability as a parent but also challenged her understanding of justice and redemption in the face of manipulated truths. In a twist of fate that seemed to answer Rosamira's fervent prayers, her ex-husband was apprehended just a day before he planned to take their baby away. This dramatic turn of events occurred during a police crackdown on a notorious ring involved in the illegal trade of infants. The operation revealed the dark underbelly of a lucrative business that had enriched the man rapidly. His interest in gaining custody of their child had nothing to do with paternal affection or the desire to educate and nurture her. Instead, he viewed the child as a commodity, having already brokered a deal with a foreign couple for a substantial sum of money. At the time, their daughter Rosa was too young to understand the gravity of the situation. Nevertheless, Rosamira always believed that they had faced these trials together, drawing strength from each other to overcome the obstacles fate had thrown their way. Rosemira was determined to raise Rosa to be resilient, never hiding the truth from her as she grew into independence. She shared their story with Rosa, not to sow seeds of hatred for her father, but to highlight a pivotal moment of triumph in their mother-daughter bond. Rosa matured into a formidable young woman, undeterred by the challenges that had shaped her early life. Unlike many of her peers who were easily influenced by societal pressures and trends, Rosa remained true to the principles her mother had instilled in her. Guided by a moral compass that pointed towards what she instinctively felt was right, she stood firm against any ridicule or ostracization that came her way. The unique bond between Rosa and Rosemira was marked by an extraordinary level of understanding and communication, rarely marred by disagreements. Despite their modest means, they found joy in life's simple pleasures. One of their cherished routines was visiting the park every weekend. There, amidst the beauty of nature, they would enjoy ice cream cones, engage in light-hearted conversations, and momentarily escape life's complexities. This ritual symbolized their ability to find contentment and happiness in adversity, demonstrating the power of their unbreakable mother-daughter relationship. On one seemingly ordinary day, an unexpected and daunting challenge arose during a leisurely walk in the park that Rosa and her mother, Rosemira, had embarked upon. This particular outing, meant to be a breath of fresh air and an immersion in nature, took a terrifying turn that neither of them could have anticipated. After spending about an hour in the park, Rosa was seized by a sudden and urgent need to urinate. Her mother, however, harbored a strong aversion to public restrooms, fearing them as hotbeds for disease transmission. Despite her reservations, Rosemira relented to her daughter's pleas to stay longer in the park, allowing Rosa to use the public facilities. The calm of the day was shattered moments later when Rosa emerged from the restroom, visibly distraught and sobbing uncontrollably. To her mother's horror, she discovered the cause of her daughter's distress: a snake had wrapped itself around Rosa's leg. This snake was not one of the benign creatures that typically frequented the park, which was known for its proximity to forest reserves and the variety of wildlife it attracted, including squirrels, exotic birds, and even rodents. Instead, it was a venomous snake that had lain in wait in the toilet bowl and latched onto Rosa's leg upon her entry. In a display of sheer maternal instinct and without a moment's hesitation, Rosemira sprang into action. She grasped the snake with her bare hands and threw it back into the forest, all while ensuring her daughter's safety. Miraculously, Rosa was unscathed, spared from a potentially lethal bite by the snake. However, in the adrenaline-fueled chaos, Rosemira did not immediately realize that she had been bitten by the snake during her brave rescue. It wasn't long before the rush of adrenaline faded and Rosemira began to feel the effects of the snake bite. Throughout the ordeal, Rosa demonstrated remarkable composure and maturity beyond her years. She quickly sought help, managing to find a family willing to drive her mother to the hospital. Once there, Rosa adeptly communicated the details of the incident to the medical staff, ensuring her mother received the prompt and appropriate care she needed. This harrowing experience underscored the unpredictable nature of life and the extraordinary lengths to which a mother would go to protect her child. It also highlighted the resilience and resourcefulness of a young girl faced with a dire emergency. Together, Rosa and Rosemira navigated one of the most terrifying moments of their lives, emerging from it with a deeper appreciation for each other and the bond they share. Thanks to the precise and detailed account provided by the young girl regarding the snake, medical professionals were able to swiftly administer the appropriate antivenom, ultimately saving her life. The brave soul at the heart of this story is named Rosemira, who remarkably bounced back from this harrowing experience in a relatively short span of time. In addition to her recovery, Rosemira played a pivotal role in the personal growth of her mother, imparting the wisdom and lessons she had garnered over the years. She also sought divine intervention, praying fervently for her continued health and prosperity. Following this scare, Rosemira was compelled to take a brief hiatus from her professional responsibilities, allowing her time to convalesce at home before she felt well enough to resume her duties at the office. During this period of recovery, Rose managed to rally the support of the nuns who had been a constant presence throughout her childhood, enlisting their help to care for her mother. This collective effort not only fortified the bond between Rosemira and her mother but also underscored the unparalleled strength and resilience that love embodies. This story serves as a testament to the profound impact of love and the remarkable feats it can achieve. If this narrative resonated with you, please consider liking this recount, sharing it with your network, and engaging in the discussion by leaving your thoughts in the comments section below. After watching this story, how do you feel? Then there is another story about a girl. Let's continue. Liza, a vibrant 11-year-old girl brimming with hopes and dreams, found herself embroiled in a baffling and distressing situation. Residing in a quaint Texas town, cradled by rolling hills and the serene flow of a crystal-clear river, she was the epitome of youthful innocence. Yet, one fateful Sunday morning, Liza's world took a turn for the worse. She awoke feeling unwell, battling a runny nose, a scratchy throat, and a relentless headache that seemed impervious to relief. Concerned she might have contracted the flu, her mother swiftly took her to their local doctor's office for a flu vaccination, a decision driven by the belief that it was the most effective measure to ward off the illness. Despite her aversion to needles, Liza mustered her courage, knowing the fleeting discomfort was a necessary evil for her well-being. The vaccination was administered, and although it left her feeling slightly woozy, a sensation she chose not to disclose, they returned home, hopeful for a speedy recovery. However, Liza's condition deteriorated drastically overnight. She awoke to a worsened cough and an unsettling feeling of nausea. As she examined her pale reflection in the mirror, she couldn't help but notice how drained she appeared, as if her vitality had been siphoned away. Yet, it wasn't just her physical state that was alarming. Liza began experiencing an unusual fatigue and an insatiable hunger, symptoms that seemed far removed from a simple flu. Her mother attributed these changes to a possible growth spurt, but Liza sensed there was something far more concerning at play. Burdened with this realization, she felt an urgent need to take control of her health and uncover the truth behind her mysterious ailment. Determined, Liza embarked on a clandestine mission to procure some answers. Her quest led her to a local pharmacy, where she was confronted with an array of products she had never encountered before: ovulation kits, fertility pills, and pregnancy tests. Overwhelmed and unsure, she selected a few affordable options, hastily making her way to the checkout in hopes of avoiding recognition. The cashier's curious glance did little to ease her anxiety. "It's for a friend," Liza mumbled, her eyes darting around nervously. The unfolding events marked the beginning of a journey that would reveal a shocking discovery far beyond anyone's expectations. Liza, at the tender age of 11, found herself navigating a reality that would challenge her understanding of life and her place within it. As the story unravels, the depth of Liza's predicament becomes glaringly evident, leaving the small Texas town and its inhabitants in disbelief. "That's a common excuse," retorted the cashier with a dismissive tone, her rudeness apparent as she methodically packed the boxes Liza handed over. Liza shot her a sharp, disapproving glare, feeling the sting of the unwarranted attitude. With a sense of urgency, she made a beeline for the exit. It was imperative that she got home soon. In a stroke of luck, Liza's parents remained oblivious to her absence that particular night, a night when Liza, grappling with a mix of fear and anticipation, decided to take a pregnancy test. The sight of two distinct pink lines left her reeling in disbelief. The very notion of pregnancy seemed implausible to her. Her romantic experiences were limited to a solitary kiss with a boy, hardly a foray into a serious relationship. Determined to uncover the truth behind her unexpected situation, Liza sought the expertise of her doctor, arriving at the medical office in a state of profound distress. Without a prior appointment but fortuitously finding the doctor available upon his arrival, Liza confronted him with her turmoil. The doctor, initially taken aback by Liza's frantic demeanor, eventually managed to engage her in a calm discussion. Firm in her resolve to keep her situation private, Liza resisted reaching out to her parents. Following a series of tests, the doctor confirmed her pregnancy, leaving Liza shell-shocked. At merely 11 years old, the concept of pregnancy was unfathomable to her. She had never engaged in any form of sexual activity and lacked a romantic partner. The situation seemed utterly inexplicable to Liza, who was promised confidentiality by the empathetic doctor. Despite the doctor's advice to confide in her mother, Liza found herself paralyzed by the fear of her mother's potential reaction, anticipating a harsh lecture and accusations of bringing shame upon the family. Her attempts to broach the subject with her mother were thwarted by her own apprehensions. Her parents, sensing their daughter's distress, endeavored to encourage her to share her burden, but the extraordinary nature of her situation rendered Liza speechless. When the truth finally emerged, and Liza's pregnancy was medically confirmed, her parents, though stunned, rallied around her with unwavering support. They were committed to supporting Liza through the perplexing and challenging journey ahead. The enigma of Liza's conception led some to speculate about divine intervention, positing that Liza was a uniquely chosen individual. Amidst the swirling theories, Sandra, presumably a close figure to Liza, focused on nurturing a positive outlook on the daunting situation. Liza's journey through pregnancy was marred by challenges. Her youth and inexperience cast a shadow over her future as a young mother. Although Chloe, likely a friend or relative, offered her steadfast support, Liza was acutely aware that the mystery of her pregnancy demanded an explanation. As the moment of truth approached, Liza found herself oscillating between anticipation and apprehension. Doctors, who invest years in rigorous training to attain their qualifications, are accustomed to delivering news in the clinical setting. Yet, when Liza finally faced her doctor, his revelations were entirely unexpected, leaving her ears burning, a testament to the shocking and unforeseen turn her life had taken. She had come to realize the harsh reality that the person she once held in high regard was not who she had believed him to be. This revelation was difficult enough, but the situation took a more challenging turn when, in her moment of vulnerability, she felt isolated. It was as if, despite her parents' presence, an invisible wedge had been driven between her and the rest of the world. Feeling cornered and misunderstood, she was determined to raise her concerns about the doctor's questionable practices to the medical board. Overwhelmed by the situation, the young girl needed a moment to herself, stepping outside to breathe in the fresh air as a means to regain her composure. Her next step was clear in her mind: she needed to seek out a new healthcare provider. This ordeal was an unprecedented challenge for her, a stark contrast to the innocuous troubles her peers faced, marking her experiences as uniquely burdensome for someone of her tender age. She was faced with a dilemma that seemed insurmountable, especially in the absence of a clear medical diagnosis to explain her condition. There was an unshakable sense of mystery surrounding the doctor, an intangible quality that suggested he was concealing something significant. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the feeling was undeniable. This enigma wrapped in a medical gown was a puzzle that no one could solve, yet it was clear that whatever secrets he held were pivotal. The truth, when it would finally emerge, promised to be shocking, an unforeseen revelation that none could have anticipated. Regrettably, Liza was burdened with a heavy truth about her unexpected pregnancy, a truth unveiled to her by her physician during one of her consultations. Despite her promise to herself to guard this secret with her life, the weight of it threatened to spill over. Liza yearned to erase this knowledge from her mind, to live in blissful ignorance, but the reality of her situation gnawed at her, refusing to be ignored. The doctor's opposition only added to her anxiety, making her feel isolated in her struggle. Unbeknownst to Liza, her life was poised for a significant turn with the imminent arrival of someone she hadn't anticipated. This unforeseen visitor was on a path that would inevitably cross hers, bringing about transformative changes she couldn't evade. When the moment of truth arrived, and Liza went into labor, the fear and anxiety about her baby's welfare, instilled by the doctor's forewarnings, loomed large over her. Despite the turmoil and complexities that had entangled her life, her foremost wish was for her child's safety and well-being. The thought of any harm coming to her child was unbearable. Following an arduous labor, Liza's fears were finally put to rest as she cradled her newborn, a tangible symbol of hope and new beginnings. This moment marked the end of her ordeal, ushering in the prospect of the life she had always envisioned for herself, albeit with a few adjustments. In the years that followed, Liza dedicated herself to her child, balancing her role as a mother with her educational pursuits and work commitments. Her resilience never wavered, her love for her son fueling her determination. Her son blossomed into a joyful and healthy boy, his adoration for his mother a testament to the strength of their bond. Liza's journey was a testament to her growth and the fulfillment of her aspirations. Despite having every reason to confront Dr. Roberts legally for his role in her predicament, Liza chose to let go of the past, focusing instead on the bright future that lay ahead with her son. This decision underscored her belief in moving forward and not dwelling on past grievances. Her son became the embodiment of her dreams and aspirations, a constant reminder of the beauty in life and the futility of harboring resentment. However, the lingering question of how her pregnancy came to be remained unanswered, a mystery that seemed to fade into the background as Liza embraced the joys of motherhood. Even years later, another individual held on to the secret, adamant about bringing the truth to light regardless of the fallout. Amidst these revelations, Liza's parents showered her son Jonah with love, embracing him as a cherished member of the family. This story is a poignant exploration of resilience, the transformative power of love, and the courage to face the unknown, all woven through Liza's journey from a place of fear to one of fulfillment and purpose. They treated her as if she were one of their own, yet they deliberately left the bulk of responsibilities on the shoulders of their daughter. It was crucial for her to cultivate independence, they reasoned. Liza had resolved to embrace silence for the entirety of her life if it meant peace, blissfully unaware of the unforeseen events that lay ahead. However, her grandmother was not one to step back easily. If her granddaughter refused to confide in her, she was determined to uncover the truth by any means necessary. Being kept in the dark posed numerous challenges for both Liza and Jonah. The possibility of the father returning to claim custody or the risk of hereditary health issues looming over her grandson were constant worries. While Sandra sought a moment of solitude with Jonah, the sound of the doorbell went unnoticed. The persistent knocking failed to garner a response either. Yet, the arrival's most unsettling aspect was the identity of the visitor, a revelation that sent chills through Sandra. Her maternal instincts were on high alert, sensing imminent trouble from the man at her doorstep, a man she recognized but wished never to encounter again. It was Dr. Roberts. Upon opening the door, Sandra's apprehension heightened. Dr. Roberts appeared disheveled and breathless, as if he had hurried to her doorstep. She wondered about the urgency that compelled him to rush to her home and the nature of his visit. "I need to tell you something about your daughter," he managed to say, igniting a fury within Sandra. The audacity of his words concerning her daughter made her see red. Concerned for her daughter's well-being, Sandra demanded he leave at once. The doctor, though visibly frustrated, complied and departed without further incident. Sandra sighed in relief following his departure, oblivious to the grave error she had just committed. Dr. Roberts was the only other person privy to the events that had transpired with her daughter on that fateful day. However, her anger toward him blinded her to any truth he might have offered. Later, when Liza returned home and inquired about Jonah's day, Sandra's complexion turned ashen. She realized she could no longer conceal the day's events from her daughter. Liza would inevitably learn about Dr. Roberts' visit, and Sandra preferred her daughter hear it directly from her. Liza's complexion mirrored her mother's as she confronted the moment she had feared since her pregnancy. The moment of reckoning she had been evading for years was upon her. "He didn't mention anything about Jonas, did he?" she asked, anxiety lacing her voice, bracing herself for the potential fallout of the truth's exposure. Liza's reluctance to speak about Jonah had raised red flags for Sandra, who couldn't help but feel a growing sense of suspicion. Why would her daughter suddenly mention Jonas? As a concerned mother, Sandra felt compelled to unearth the truth behind her daughter's evasive behavior. She was convinced Liza was concealing something significant, and it became imperative for Sandra to devise a strategy to gently encourage her daughter to open up and share the truth. Doubts began to cloud Sandra's thoughts. Had she overlooked important advice from the doctor that might hold the key to understanding the situation? "What's troubling you, honey?" Sandra inquired, observing how Liza's gaze remained fixed on the ground, signaling her reluctance to engage in the conversation. With a gentle tone, she prodded further, "Do you know who Jonah's father is, Liza?" Sandra's voice was laced with concern, her only desire being to shield her daughter from any harm. Upon hearing her mother's words, Liza lifted her eyes, now brimming with tears, and prepared to reveal a truth that would profoundly alter Sandra's perception of the events. To Sandra's astonishment, Liza disclosed, "Dr. Roberts had a legitimate reason for approaching you about my child. He has every right to be involved," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "He's Jonah's biological father." The revelation sent shockwaves through Sandra, igniting a fury within her at the thought. Liza recounted a peculiar incident that had occurred when she received what was supposed to be a routine flu shot. It was unusual in several ways. The injection was administered in her stomach, and the needle used was unnervingly large. It was only later that Liza uncovered the harrowing truth: the doctor had switched the injections. Instead of a flu vaccine, she had been administered an IVF injection, leading to her unexpected pregnancy. By the time she pieced everything together, it was too late to take any action. This bombshell revelation left Sandra grappling with a whirlwind of emotions, as she tried to comprehend the depth of deceit and the implications it held for her daughter and grandson. The need to protect Liza and confront the reality of their situation became Sandra's top priority, as they faced the daunting task of navigating the challenges that lay ahead. After watching this story, what do you think of? Then there is another story about a young girl and her brother. Let's expect what will happen. The digital eye of the family camera silently documented the daily interactions at home between a young girl and her brother, revealing a scenario that left their parents completely astounded. They were puzzled by the root cause of their children's unusual behavior. Was it a result of sleep deprivation, or perhaps unsettling nightmares? After meticulously ruling out a plethora of common childhood ailments, they were still left grappling with the mystery. The situation was becoming increasingly frustrating, overshadowing other concerns at the moment. If only the children understood the underlying reason behind their actions, they wouldn't inadvertently cause any harm. Valerie, the mother, considered herself incredibly blessed to have her children, Vivian and Levi. She knew she was exceptionally lucky. Her children not only got along but also shared a deep bond, unlike some siblings who are perpetually at odds. Levi, embracing his role as the older brother, took his responsibilities towards his sister very seriously. To maximize space in Valerie's cozy two-bedroom home in Santa Monica, the siblings shared a room at night, a decision that seemed both practical and harmonious. Initially, Valerie noticed something amiss but dismissed it, assuming it was a trivial matter. However, concern grew when Levi, her son, started showing signs of fatigue, as though he wasn't getting enough rest. But how could that be? Addressing her son with a voice laced with concern, Valerie inquired if he was all right. Levi merely glanced up, shrugged, and went back to his cereal bowl. This wasn't the first time her children appeared less lively than usual, but Levi seemed particularly drained. What was on his mind that he couldn't share with her? Perhaps you should try sleeping in your own beds tonight, Valerie suggested, realizing she needed to step in to solve the mystery. However, Levi's response, a silent shake of his head, indicated his reluctance. Even Vivian, her daughter, couldn't offer any clarity. Levi got my binky, she said, shaking her head before walking away. Valerie pondered whether it was a blanket that Vivian was referring to, and whether it was given to Levi or taken by him. Determined to get to the bottom of the issue, Valerie decided to inspect their mattresses the next night, hoping to ensure a peaceful and uninterrupted sleep for both children. This decision marked the beginning of her quest to understand the puzzling dynamics unfolding in her children's shared bedroom, with the hope of restoring tranquility and ensuring the well-being of her beloved children. Valerie, unlike many, was no novice when it came to navigating the world of electronic gadgets. Driven by a curiosity to understand recent peculiarities, she took the decisive step of installing a surveillance camera within the confines of their bedroom. Night after night, Valerie found herself lying awake, her mind swirling with questions and theories about the recent odd occurrences in their household. After what felt like an eternity, or more precisely, 8 exhaustive hours poring over surveillance footage, Valerie stumbled upon an unexpected revelation. Levi, her son, had been exhibiting behaviors akin to those of a sleepwalker, moving through the house with the listlessness of an exhausted zombie over the past several nights. In stark contrast, Vivian, her daughter, seemed utterly unaffected, cheerfully indulging in her meals without a hint of her brother's restlessness. Concerned that Levi might be struggling with insomnia or perhaps tormented by nightmares, Valerie decided to delve deeper into the recordings. She meticulously reviewed the footage from the previous night, her heart pounding with anticipation and dread. What she discovered next was both astonishing and utterly heartwarming. In the dimly lit room, Vivian could be seen restlessly tossing and turning in her cot. After a few moments, she rose to her feet, peered over the railing, and, with a hopeful gaze fixed on her brother, she whispered, "Levi, I really want to lay down in your bed right now while we're taking care of my baby," referring to her doll with a tender look over her shoulder. Levi, who had been lying still until then, sprang to his feet, a gesture that filled Valerie's heart with warmth. He paused momentarily, as if weighing his options, before reassuringly declaring that everything was all right. He then attentively watched as Vivian attempted to scale the crib walls. In a split-second decision, Levi dashed to her aid, positioning a stool beneath her feet to ensure her safety, eliciting a soft "thank you" from Vivian. The scene that unfolded next was even more endearing. Valerie observed as Vivian adeptly climbed the stool and reached for the railing, her tiny fingers grappling with the latch. Just as Vivian swung her leg over the side in a bold attempt to escape her crib, panic seized Valerie, fearing the potential fall that awaited her daughter. However, before Valerie's fears could materialize, Levi sprang into action. Swiftly, he dragged a stool across the floor and placed it strategically under Vivian's landing spot, vigilantly watching over her and ready to offer assistance at a moment's notice. Realizing the depth of her son's care for his sister, Valerie called her husband, Chris, to witness the heartwarming scene. When Chris watched the footage, his eyes widened in amazement, and a chuckle escaped him as Valerie pressed play once more. The family couldn't contain their laughter as they watched the siblings' adorable antics unfold, a testament to the unexpected moments of joy and tenderness that siblings can share. Amid a burst of uncontrollable laughter, Vivix turned around, her forgetfulness shining through in her exclamation, "Oh, I forgot my binky." "Oh God, your binky." Levi couldn't help but let out a snort, his eyes rolling in amusement, as he watched her hastily return to the crib. There, she eagerly picked up a piece of fabric that had fallen to the floor. Levi's laughter filled the room at the sight, teasing her, "That's what you're choosing to wear with my pajamas?" His daughter paused, her attention shifting back to the cot, facing what seemed like an insurmountable challenge to minimize the distance between them. "That's perfectly fine by me," she declared. Yet, just as she was about to cozy back into bed, Levi, ever the protective big brother, sensed something amiss. Whispering softly, he hinted, "You forgot your baby. The crib's barely been in use for a year." Nonchalantly, he climbed over the railing, retrieving the blanket and doll Vivian had inadvertently left behind, a crucial component of her bedtime ritual overlooked in the moment's excitement. "Hold it," he instructed, waving the doll before her, a gentle reminder of what she had missed. Realization dawned on Vivian, and she quickly reclaimed her indispensable sleeping companions from the floor. As Levi settled back into his bed, he made room for Vivian, pulling back the covers to invite her into the warm embrace of sleep until the early morning hours arrived, signaling the next stage of their nightly routine. Upon awakening, Levi nudged his sister gently, coaxing her out of her slumber and into the comfort of his bed. He tenderly arranged her back under the covers, ensuring her binky was securely in place and her doll nestled safely in the crook of his arm. With a soft pat on the back, head, and cheek, he wrapped himself back under his own covers, signaling the close of their bedtime ritual. Valerie and Chris, witnessing this touching display, exchanged glances filled with love and tears of joy in their eyes. Overwhelmed by the adorable spectacle, they felt their hearts might just burst. The mystery of the evening had unfolded beautifully, yet they sensed there was something more to be done, something they were keenly aware of. It dawned on them why Levi had been so particularly tired, yet it was evident that nothing of concern was afoot. It was merely a brother and sister demonstrating their care for each other in the most endearing way. Without delay, Valerie shared the heartwarming moment on the family's social media page. The response from the wider world was eagerly anticipated. After all, it's a universal truth that every parent cherishes these tender moments of sibling affection, moments that remind us of the simple yet profound connections that bind us in their hearts. Many parents believe that their child represents the pinnacle of their life's achievements. To an outsider, the mundane moments of parenthood, such as a baby's innocent burp or a toddler's temper tantrum over mismatched socks, might not seem particularly poignant. Yet, for Valerie, these instances felt utterly normal and even endearing. She held on to the hope that her close circle of friends and family would appreciate the humor and charm in these everyday occurrences. Not long after sharing a video capturing one of these moments, Valerie was pleasantly surprised to see a flood of likes and comments. Within just a few days, the video's view count soared to over 500, marking a remarkable uptick in interest. But this was just the beginning. The video quickly captured hearts worldwide, amassing over 1 million views as people from various corners of the globe resonated with its content. The unexpected happened when Valerie received a call inviting her and her family to appear on the Ellen DeGeneres show. The news was met with laughter and joy by Valerie and her husband, Chris, while their children, Vivian and Levi, were thrilled at the prospect of a free vacation that included a plane ride. Upon their arrival, the family was greeted by the renowned TV host. Valerie, initially nervous, found comfort in watching her children effortlessly converse with Ellen about their likes, dislikes, and even a recent camping trip. The family's story had already warmed the hearts of many, but Ellen had another surprise up her sleeve. Understanding the family's love for Disney, Ellen, in partnership with Shutterfly, announced they were gifting the family a trip to Disney World. This included fast passes, a luxurious hotel stay, and a plethora of other delightful surprises. The gift far exceeded Valerie's expectations, but it was not the highlight of their journey. More than the dream vacation, what truly remained etched in Valerie's heart was the profound realization that her children, Viv and Levi, would always have each other's backs. Furthermore, the global conversation sparked by their video encompassed a broader dialogue about kindness, inclusivity, and the shared human experience. This exchange of ideas, marked by civility and warmth, became a testament to the power of simple, everyday moments to unite people across the globe. The message underscored the critical need for unity and collective action in the present times, significantly more than in the past. Valerie found herself immensely blessed to be the mother of such exceptional offspring. That's all about our story. If you like this story, please like and subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next story.